can do that. All right, are we ready? Okay. Her clock's off a little bit. We ready? Okay. It's 6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. Ms. Jennifer, would you like to lead us in the prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, we come together tonight again, thanking you for the gift of rain that you've given us the last few weeks, as well as the cooler temperatures. As we meet tonight as representatives of our community, entrusted with the responsibility of making decisions that impact the lives of our fellow citizens, we seek your guidance and your wisdom as we engage in the important task before us. Lord, grant us the strength and the peace to make decisions that are just and fair, always keeping in mind the well-being of our community. Help us to listen with open hearts and minds to the diverse voices and perspectives of our constituents, recognizing that only through unity and not division can we achieve the greater good. We ask for your blessings upon this council, our city, and all who call McLendon-Chisholm home. May our efforts be guided by compassion, integrity, and a genuine commitment to the betterment of our community. We ask for your protection over the people of Israel and the horrific actions happening there right now. It's in your name that we ask all of these things. Amen.
Amen. Dan, would you like to lead us in pledges, please? American flag, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, as I say in every meeting, the rules of decorum are in effect. Basically, treat each other with respect and be adults. That's all we ask. All right, first up is going to be a proclamation because we have World Teachers Day. So, ma'am, if you'll come up there, and we'll come out there. And everybody knows me, when we get to these proclamation things, they do a lot of warehouses. All right. World Teachers Day. Whereas McLendon-Chisholm's future strength depends on providing a high-quality education to all students, and whereas teacher quality matters more to student achievement than any other school-related factor, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lesson plans and supporting students, and whereas McLendon-Chisholm's teachers have demonstrated great resilience, adaptability, and creativity during the COVID-19 crisis, and whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community, and whereas Teachers Can is a statewide movement supported by more than 150 partnering businesses and organizations committed to elevating the teaching profession and honoring the critical role teachers play in the success of Texas. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of McLendon-Chisholm Council joins Teachers Can in a partnering entity across Texas in celebrating World Teachers Day and proclaims October 10, 2023 to be the City of McLendon-Chisholm Teachers Day, and be it resolved that the City of McLendon-Chisholm City Council members of our community personally express appreciation of teachers and display a light blue ribbon outside your home or businesses the week of October 9th as a symbol of support for our educators, adopted this 10th day of October 2023. Guys, our teachers are the heart and soul of our community. They get our kids more than we do most of the time. And I know from my days with Noel, I have fond memories of a lot of teachers. One that got me the love of reading, another one that loved history. Without those teachers, I don't know where I would have or science and all of the things that I like to do because they got that love and still in me to seek out. Thank you. Yeah, the rest of the council, you want to come up here and be a part of this? You don't have to, but like all of the other people can. Yes, I know you'll see it later today. Come on. No, I got it. All right, next up is citizens' comments. Mr. Connor Payne, where you at? If you'll turn the microphone on up at the podium and state your name and your address.
Wrong button. Okay, perfect. Connor Payne, 713 Berkshire Lane, Grapevine, Texas. My name is Connor Payne. I'm here with Huffines Communities representing the Trilogy Development. Just like everyone, we desire a reliable source of water in a timely manner and for the foreseeable future. And we want to come here and affirm our support of the city's desire to serve water. And we remain hopeful that RCH and the city of McLendon-Chisholm can come to a solution that is common sense for all parties. And I just want to say thank you for your work and thank you for your time.
I know, I'm not very good. I wasn't so good at school. I did get to know the principal's office, though. My name is Brent Cornish, and I live at 250 League Road. I went to the last P&Z meeting, and I voiced my opposition to the zoning change proposal from an SF 2.5 to a commercial. I figured out one more point that I would like to bring to the council's meeting, and that is, if this is approved and it's changed to a commercial, then what's to stop the developer from coming in on the other 3 parcels that he owns right next to it and say, well, I'd like to make this commercial. By doing so, you'd be setting a precedent. And I just wanted to bring, if I'm correct, and I just wanted to bring that point up to everybody. All right? Thank you.
Jean Amanis, 107 Cheney Place. And I just want to say thank you, McLendon-Chisholm, and particularly Mayor Pro Tem Balkum for leading the way in acquiring the water acquisition. The steps have been laid out very specifically from the very beginning. I'm new to this whole process, and since I've been coming to not only the city council meetings, I went to the town hall meeting, I was a part of the neighborhood representatives meeting. Each and every one of these, the minutes are taken. The process was very clearly laid out on 7/11. The letter of intent was very clearly read. I don't know how anybody could miss that that was and approved unanimously. Correct me if I'm wrong later, but I believe that was your letter stating we're going to do this, and why would you send a letter if you're not going to do this? So that's how I understood it. I'm glad. It seems like we're a water experiment with RCH, and I'm really tired of it, and I'm ready to move on with the process. They experiment first with RFPs. They chose a very bad company that we knew from the very beginning, and they finally saw that when they got their letter from North Texas Municipal Water District saying who you need to explain this Aqua deal. And lo and behold, RCH backed out of Aqua's pertaining to the 1.2 million, I believe it's the amount, that's probably not correct, billing error, wanting us to believe that this major water corporation could make such an error.
So they bailed on that, and now they're going to cause a deflection saying MC didn't file this correctly when MC did. It's been very clearly laid out since 7/11 and even 7/11 City Council meeting. I appreciate your detail, your time and effort to go to HOA meetings, explaining each and every step. Even in the 7/11 meeting, you went through each and every day, and you said, next we'll be filing with PUC. So somebody wasn't listening. Somebody wasn't asking questions from citizens and anybody that can't understand that that was happening. And I just appreciate you, and I'm sorry you're taking flack for that. And want you to continue in that. There's many of us. When we did the petition to add to the ballot, I had more ETJ people come and sign that petition at the location I was at. So it's just not a city thing. This is the CCN, the water boundary. And you guys are doing everything by the letter of the law. You're held in an accountability as a municipality, much higher than anybody else. And it would be very unwise for anybody not to go through the proper channels. And so I appreciate you going through those channels. I observed an RCH meeting where one lady went on for at least 5 minutes explaining her co-op idea. And yet you were yelled down by 6 people out of about 45 when you tried to, again, tell people and it was clear they don't want to see it. They don't want to read it. There's some people that will not listen. They will not. And it's sad because they're asking questions that you have been answering over and over. I've heard them. Many of us here have heard the answers, and we're very aware of that process. So I support MC's endeavor, board, or city council. I encourage you to look a little bit closely at your motives if you're not behind it. I believe this is a valiant effort, and we need you guys to unify and get behind this because everything is being followed letter to the law. And it's written, and it's recorded, and I don't know how many other times it can be explained. If I can understand it, I don't know how anybody else cannot understand what you guys have been saying all along that you were filing. So thank you, and I applaud you, and we appreciate you. There's so many people that appreciate what you guys are doing. So thank you.
My name is Mike Easter. I live at 403 Wagon Court. I want to dogpile on what Gina just said. At that meeting that she described, it was very, I couldn't believe the behavior at this thing, that there's this belief that there's this 2-minute rule that's artificially imposed arbitrarily, and failing to consider all of the agenda items, the complexity of the issues, and the number of people that wanted to speak relative to the time available. I thought it was very unruly. I thought it was inappropriate. And the fact of the matter is, as a citizen of this country and as someone duly elected, you don't check your First Amendment rights at the front door because a bunch of knuckleheads think they can stop you from saying something. That RCH is a state-sanctioned entity, and the rules of the First Amendment and all the policies behind it apply to those folks. And so unless there was a reason to not permit Ms. Balkum to speak, there shouldn't have been any of this sort of behavior. And towards Ms. Balkum, I've known her for about a year and a half, and since that time, she's worked really hard on these issues. And as Gina pointed out, you have to look at a person's motives. I know that she works hard for this community. I know Dan Tucker works very hard for this community. He's been on the P&Z committee. He's been on the city council. I was very pleased when he got elected on this thing. So I appreciate the hard work that our city council's members do for this group. And just one other issue is that the reason you're up on this dais is that you're part of a representative democracy. And at the end of the day, all of you represent the citizens, the residents, McLendon-Chisholm. Although you may consider some of the effects that the actions of this city has on folks in the ETJ, Rockwall, Texas in general, your first duty is to the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm. Thank you.
Yes, I do. And it's either water or the comprehensive plan. Y'all know what y'all hear from me. So we can put this on repeat, I guess. Here we are at the end of a long, hot summer. The debate over water rages on, and the court of public opinion on social media is in overdrive. As a reminder, this issue will not be decided by comments on social media. It will be decided by the Public Utility Commission of the state of Texas, and the law is clear. According to the Texas Association of Water Companies, 600,000 of our fellow Texans are provided water by private for-profit and private nonprofit water companies. Let's put that in perspective. The state of Texas currently has 30 million people, and I think 80% of those are Californians, I'm not sure. The state of Texas currently has 30 million residents, so that means private companies such as RCH serve right at 2% of the state's population. That means 98% get their water from municipal-run water systems. Just plug in who runs a water system better, private water companies or municipalities. Overwhelming, it's municipalities. The city of McLendon-Chisholm needs to take on this responsibility. There was a deal that was put on the website that reads, McLendon-Chisholm will be able to accomplish a public purpose and is in the best interest of McLendon-Chisholm, its citizens, and RCH customers to provide continuous and adequate service to customers. Our plan is to make immediate operational management improvements to pumping station, provide a meter reader solution, and implement billing administration with quality customer service. In addition to accounting services, the City Council will consider combining the water, wastewater, and waste management services on a single billing statement. We will work with our neighbors to address infrastructure improvements and work towards becoming a direct customer of the North Texas Municipal Water District. Mayor Short designated Mayor Pro Tem Balkum and City Administrator Conrad Hildebrand as the contact on all matters concerning water. This was done to meet the growth of this city and the growth that we are experiencing in our future needs, not to create division, but to create a solution, not to create social media arguments, but to create a plan. I had a resident ask me the other day why I blindly follow Mayor Pro Tem Balkum on this water issue. I was kind of taken aback by that. I told him that I never blindly follow anyone, but I do follow leaders who have strong opinions, self-confidence, strong work ethic, strong desire to learn, and integrity. Mayor Pro Tem Balkum is the epitome of these descriptions. I'm proud to serve with her on getting viable short-term and long-term solutions to our water issues. I asked this same person what they felt about Mayor Pro Tem Balkum. The answer made me shake my head. They said they just didn't like her, and that her handling of the fire department issue caused them not to like her. So let's review. Her efforts have secured us a professional fire department that is well trained. She also secured a fire chief that is certified by the state of Texas. These alone have helped the citizens get the lowest rates possible on their homeowners insurance. The city's growing. We have to have this stuff. I can testify to the training in that I am here to deliver these comments because this professional fire department exists. They brought me back from certain death. I can only determine that someone wouldn't like a person after this because that person is not supposed to have an opinion or be self-confident and vocal. The past leadership of RCH realized the need to get out of the water supply business. They were working to get the system over to the city of McLendon-Chisholm because they realized, as well as all the customers, just go to an RCH meeting, that the business had outgrown their ability to properly maintain it. Then an election for a new board member took place. All communications with the city of McLendon-Chisholm were stopped by the RCH board. I asked Mr. Naylor why that was, and his response was that the contract presented by the city was a bad contract, and he had no obligation to present it to the RCH board. So it appears that the decision to stop negotiations was made by him and him alone. Staff began quitting RCH, so the city offered an interim agreement on May 24th to offer RCH meter reading and billing capabilities. There would also be installation of new meters with the capability of reading remotely. Instead of using this as a viable solution, Mr. Naylor began shopping the system to various other water companies with interest only being shown by Aqua. We now know that Aqua agreement has been terminated. We just wasted several months in getting to a solution. So we are being told to trust the same RCH board because they now have solutions. This is not a throw it against the wall to see what sticks type issue. We need solutions, and we need them yesterday. Thank you.
Being that we have no more for citizens' comments, 6:50 citizens' comments are closed for the evening. Next thing up is the approval of, consider approval of the minutes from the September 26th, 2023 City Council meeting. I'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. If there's not any discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Show that unanimous. All right. As we move into these next agenda items, just so everybody knows, I know there's 7.1 through 7.4. 7.2 was a presentation by a developer on a concept plan on potential projects. They have since asked to be removed from the agenda today. So that won't be going on if anybody was here to hear on 7.2 exactly. Moving on to 7.1, review and action on heritage architecture RFQ. Conrad?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the council, I'm not sure exactly the timeline. The council has decided to seek out through an RFQ process an architectural firms to work specifically with the Heritage Center that's mentioned in our comprehensive plan, but potentially other things throughout the city. We put that out for an RFQ, and we have a presenter here tonight, Burdett Land Place, and their principals are here to talk with you if you desire. But we'd also like, through this presentation, potential action, if you're ready, to potentially accept or approve this architectural firm as the city's architect and appoint the city manager to work with them to develop a contract to bring back to you to see the fiscal impact of this. Correct. Our City Hall, that's the specific. Right. So with that, with your approval, Mayor, we'd like to invite up principals from the architecture firm to come up to the dais, and we have their president and owner. I'm not sure your exact title, but Mr. Burdett here. Burdett.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. There's a line in Aladdin that said, come closer, and then it's a little too close, My name is Charles Burdett. I'm president of Burdett Land Place. Thank you, Mayor and council members and members of staff, and for folks that are here today, citizens and neighbors. When we first saw the RFQ, we were excited, and you might think that, well, how do you get excited about a 5-page or maybe it was a 4-page RFQ? However, we look for opportunity in the way RFQs are written, and when we see things that provide us a chance to say what we're thinking and to share our thoughts on something without too rigid restrictions, we're all over it. And as long as it comports with a couple of things that we have to find out, and that is, first of all, is it a community that is in a smaller population base, one that is growing, or one that has challenges, or one that understands who they are, that they're a genuine community, that they're not creating some false new thing that's, I use the term she, we can do she in design and architecture and landscape architecture, but our preference is to work with a canvas that is genuine to each community and that it's unique, and the goals of the project benefit the user groups in a community, and there's a vision and now let me just say that there was a little interpretation to be done in the RFQ, which we tried to dance through and present enough information that we were covered, but we were excited enough to come up, and I will tell you that every project we've done in the last 35 years, with the exception only of a few, I've traveled to that community wherever it was. I've walked the streets, I've talked to people, I've taken pictures, I've gotten myself in trouble by poking my face in windows that were closed and when it was dark, and it was dark here, but I think I didn't look like a bad risk, I guess, when I was taking pictures here. And so it was a thrill for us to evaluate and take a look at what's going on. I've come into this community from Rockwall, from south on 205, from Connie Lane, and all the other little jigs and zags that are out there. And you live in a remarkable place, a remarkable community with topography, with watersheds and canopy here. You expressed in your comprehensive plan goals and lofty goals that mean something to you, and you're striving to connect to those and stay true to them. Not only that, there's a history here. There isn't a fast developing city that, you know, you guys didn't just start developing here 10 years ago, and folks moving out of Rockwall or wherever. You've been here a long time. The farming community has, and the land grants have gone back, what, 150 years to 175 years. Those are music to our ears, because we think to come up with something original in any design, in any vernacular, we're looking for vernacular when it comes to architecture, to give something that is real and true about your community, whether it's in the materials, whether it's the way users experience it. And we really liked the style and the design of this council chambers, and that's part of why I was poking in. I love to see timber frame construction and some use of timber frame, because it's just an awesome way to accent your architecture. However, it does take a while to see your community, because you're in this master plan community area. Oh, there's another one with the same name, and it's over here, and then there's another one down on the watershed over there, and of course we've got the equestrian center and the nursery, and if we go far enough, is the pickleball place, is that in the ETJ or is it not in ETJ? And then when we find out that it is, we go, yay, that means tax revenue for you guys. And so there's a lot of traveling around, looking and taking pictures, and then selecting through that to make a submittal for us to try to feel like we know the community well enough by talking to a few people too. And we were very proud to make a submittal here, because when we go home, sometimes we just decide we're not interested particularly. 95% of our work is public work, and most of our work is in communities of less than 100,000 people, and most often it's less than 20,000 people. And the reason we have that, we enjoy that type of design, is because we're working with real committees. We're working with people who actually are they're connected to positions, committees, and they're connected to people of leadership, and those that are elected. They're involved in the school district, they're involved in the community, and that was readily easy to see here. And so like I just about got lost in the Lazy Susans and the sunflowers back there. I got a little bit discombobulated trying to take pictures back there. For, you know, you just can't pass up a great sunflower picture. But then I also nearly fell in some of the cracks back there that are about about 6 inches wide. I swear I could put my head in there, particularly along the detention area here behind the public safety building. But I will say that, just to tell you a little bit about our firm is a 40-year-old firm established as an integrated firm. We have architecture, landscape architecture, planning, natural resource management, and parks and recreation planning. And we're a truly integrated firm where every project starts with the same people at the table right from the beginning, so that we have everybody's eyes on the project. We understand the program for the project together, and that speeds up not only our assignment, and also helps us to hear from each other what the other thinks is going to be needed throughout the project, and gives their position when it comes to maybe historic tree preservation or watershed protection or recreational needs. And it causes us to want to look a little bit past the actual site of whatever project it is, and look down the road a little, and how does this impact the property upstream and downstream, because everything that we do in communities has an impact or a domino effect on other things. And so we go over that in the initial phase. We don't know exactly whether the project itself is to, and we did read the comprehensive plan most accurately, and we understand a reason for the Heritage Center, and there's certainly very fine high points in there about what you want to continue here in the community, and those are in there. And the pictures in the hallway kind of demonstrate some of the brief history of the communities together here, which I'm sure you have plenty more. But a heritage center and a cultural center goes beyond that, and it has to do with the people that live here, not just a sense of settlement, but also the people who live here now, and what their aspirations are, and what your aspirations are for your children, and for hopefully them to come home one day and want to find this is home to me and come back here. There's lots of things that a cultural or historical facility can be. It can be readings of books for book clubs. It can be some of your natural resources demonstrated there, like whether it's nature center oriented, and that's certainly part of your community is dealing with nature, and maybe equipment and different things that go there. We don't know what that is yet, and our suggestion would be that when we tackle a project, no matter the size of it, is to develop a feasibility study. You've got plenty of studies that you have, but the kind I'm talking about is to actually sit down with your stakeholders, with each of you, and to conceptualize what things will look like, what the vernacular is to be, what's in, what's out, what you believe, how big it should be, what offices do you want in there? Do you want a research library? Do you want it to provide meeting space for events that are going to be there? What are the competitive demands from the other facilities perhaps are providing already, and do those work well with you? Will they be open forever, or do you want to consolidate it all into one facility? Parking, sustainability goals. Do you want to do rainwater harvesting and collect water off the roof so you can manage some of your water resources in the landscapes around? Shade trees in the parking lot instead of simply, by the way, this was really great. I parked in the parking lot when I was up here on that weekend walking everything, and I parked under a tree, one of those shady elms out there, which was very nice. Even your entry sign over here, it's the one that turns in here, it's understated. The materials are just right. The decomposed granite has a great feel to it. The ground cover is well done. The bull rock out front minimizes your water uses. You're doing some really good things here, and it told us that this is a place that we feel like that we can design successfully for, or make recommendations for you that would be meaningful in your decision making. And at the beginning of a project, finding out how you want users to experience something, what goes into it, what the time frame is, what the time frame is, those are all important. And for us, we don't look necessarily at first at opinions of probable cost unless you have a budget for it, because that will limit you immediately. But we also design with constraint. There's nothing that says that spending a lot of money is what gets you the best design. Constraint is a way of still having very nice finishes and amenities, but you don't have to spend, you don't have to spend the next 3 years CIP just to get beauty. Constraint can still be beautiful in the materials you use. The agricultural history here, bringing in some of that agricultural materials is really important. Your process that you're going to go through, regardless if it's a feasibility study or you just say, hey, we just want some concepts, we want to know what it's going to cost, what it might look like, and then we're ready to go. That's one way of doing it, but another way is to walk away with what we might say is a manifesto, a study that has images, probable costs, floor plans, conceptual designs, not just one, not 3 that were merged into that final one, but to have multiple conceptual plans, egress and ingress. And once that's over and you are able to set a budget, and also one other thing I meant to say is in the feasibility study, a cost recovery model where we can look at this and see, do you have a model like you want to recover 25% of the cost of operation through events that are there? We can help you with that, the economic impact of something like this, short-term, long-term, etc. But once you go through all that and you say we're ready to go, we have a final feasibility study or master plan or whatever the resulting document is, that's when we start over. After that, we look at everything again and test it. We say, does this still hold water? Is this everything we heard and everything that was decided during that exciting first period? Because now we're going to go into design. And in design, you don't want to be making a lot of changes. So decisions made in schematic design are important to review the use for the user groups, how you want people to experience the site, and look at not putting something someplace that might prevent you from something down the line that you might like to have out there too. So we would suggest that after a study is done or any preliminary planning, that you revisit where we started and test it, and that doesn't take too long, but you can all say, yes, we said this and we said that, but we've changed our mind a little bit. Some things have changed. Or you move forward and say, no, this is it. We're good to go. There's so many things that I know we don't have time. I think I've overdone my 2-minute public comments here, but public involvement is important, and transparent public involvement and engagement helps to get citizens involved in it, and hopefully that is something that's important. We work in multiple cities, usually 10, 12 cities across Texas, but we have 25 to 30 architects, landscape architects, and planners, natural resource folks, and we put our senior people on projects that we are the most excited about. Some things are a little more mundane, and they're a little more just not cookie cutter, but they're following a different path. I think the planning that you're doing, this facility is going to be there for forever, and it's important to put the best foot forward. And I'm here today, and I was here weekends ago because I'm really excited about this project. I want to introduce you to 2 of our colleagues here, Our director of design is Mark Goulas. Mark has over 40 years of experience. Used to teach at Texas A&M, has had his own firm at times and is part of our team, and he is over all architecture and landscape architecture and design to coordinate each project and each of our disciplines together. And Mark brings a tremendous level of experience in public and in private sector projects. Paul Howard here. Paul Howard is, he's a planner. He has great experience in spatial studies and GIS, and we use that to a great deal in our planning work, but he also works with smaller communities in corridor studies and looking at live-work opportunities in commercial and developing renderings for potential projects that might be along your corridors. And I know we're getting a little bit out of the Heritage Center here. However, if we're selected and we're fortunate enough to work together, we're available to give you the broad width and breadth of what our firm can offer and put bigger results together for you if it serves anything that you need. We also, and I'll wrap up by just saying that in our proposal submittal, I wrote in there that we don't charge travel expenses, because we've always felt for over 30 years, if we're going to work in a community, we should be in that community. We should treat it as if that's our community. And so you'll never be charged for driving up and driving back and 58 cents a mile or any of that stuff. That's not how we do it. And same with overnight stays. Now, if we have public meetings and there's some presentations that have to go in the newspaper or something, those typically would get billed. But as far as other expenses, we have none. And we will be here as if we're just down the hall from you guys. We don't promote, even during Zoom, we fight our way into the city to not have a Zoom meeting, just because we believe that the best relationships come from face-to-face problem solving and working through issues and further understanding by getting to know, being able to go that second, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say, and to ask those questions. So I'm sure I've left some things out and overdone this a bit. You have our submittals, I hope, before you, in a brochure that we brought. I would like to invite Mark Goulas and Paul up to just say a couple of words and wrap things up about their perspective on things here, because we are aware of your growth and the issues that are going on here, although we probably ought to stay out of that, some of that stuff. But we're excited to be part of anything that has to do with improving quality of life here and to help you. So, Mark, why don't you come up and join Paul?
I appreciate you guys letting us come in today and talk a little bit about our firm. I think Charles pretty much wrapped up about our company and what we do and what we can bring to it. But the one thing that the energy and excitement of a project of this nature and this scale is always unique for us architects. You can have big projects, but the smaller ones usually have the most character, a lot of charm, and a lot of stuff that we can express ourselves in our designs. And we have a great team of young architects that can help us present renderings and presentations, but we're all creative in a way where we get excited about projects. And this one particularly really caught our eyes and really stimulated our thoughts already. We've already got ideas we want to throw out there, but the same, there's a process, and Charles kind of went through that process, and we're excited to be part of the, potentially part of the team to do it.
And Charles fairly well covered most of our service. Me as a planner, I'm always looking at a project, even at something that it seems as simple as a single site and single structure, but looking at it holistically. And we tend to do that with all of our projects, is zoom out to the community level and make sure that we're getting the full context of your whole community and how that's going to affect your local site. And then the other thing is the community engagement portion of it. Some communities avoid it like the plague, but we find that's the only way to get it right. And so every project we work on, we want to be on the ground and doing rolled up sleeves in small workshop groups with your neighborhood associations, with special committees and focus groups, and the general public in every way we can, because that's what gives you the buy-in to make it happen when it comes time to actually pay for these things. And so I think that's about it, and we thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with y'all.
Let's stay up here in case they have questions, but we like in public engagement, we have a public meeting right here. It's not the same as doing at a pop-up event or a fall festival where people are passing by and the kids are with them. And you get honest answers. It's fun. You give little treats and things out. It could be a spring festival, fall festival, or Halloween. Give them some, beads from the kind of beads that they do in New Orleans throwing out. But we like those kinds of events, but we also will go into communities and go see people in assisted living homes. We'll go talk to people who are critical, people who have seen a lot and have a view of what they would like to see for their family. Those are important voices as well, and we will go to either end. We also will develop a survey, an online survey, and we can help you with that and make sure it's posted on your website, sending out to utility bills, etc. Work with your school district, the county, and talk to them. And it may not all fall into what this should be, this particular project, but it helps to hear the thoughts of others. Particularly, it helps to hear the thoughts of those that are the most, perhaps at times not most, but those that aren't the most favorable to the project that you have in mind. Because the more you can go engage those people and ask questions and let them explain to you, they often become advocates of the project, because you dignify going to them and saying, I know you're not part of this, but let's just talk about this. See what you So we are open for any questions if you have any, and please let us know.
I don't have any questions. I personally, I'm very excited about you coming down here and discussing this and helping us out in the future, hopefully. I think that you guys have a vision, and you're vision-oriented, it seems like. As you said at one point, there's a canvas here that presents, and you want to fill that out and help us in that process. You guys have a lot of experience. You have a lot of good letters of recommendation, which is testimony by others that you're capable of handling this kind of a project. So I'm very excited about what the potential could be here.
Yes. So first off, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. The fact that you came down here and physically got pictures to try to get an idea of the actual area, that was really nice that you did that. I like how you kind of just kind of explained about the process and all that, and there's buzzwords that I was actually looking for, which is basically number one, community input, because we don't really know what everybody wants. We want to be able to get them to be able to have an opportunity to share what their thoughts are, what their input is. And then the other part is I want to take it to the next level of we really worked hard on the comprehensive plan, and now it's time to go to the next level, and that would be including like commercial design guidelines, downtown design guidelines, or heritage design guidelines, some sort of concepts of ideas. What should we use the land use for? And so, and then going from that part and explaining how can we be able to implement those ideas for policies would be helpful. And that would kind of give us guideline, some sort of guidance for us. And so I just want to say thank you for doing that. You did a good job as far as the explanation of the presentation here and your methodology. And I'm hoping that whenever we do get into discussions, that we can kind of break down, I guess, stages or phases of this. And I think, what was the word that you just used? It's not just necessarily creating a budget, but you were talking about working with a set time frame or a set item. You said something wasn't like a budget. There was a word that you just used earlier. The probable cause. Okay. Well, it will be working with a certain time frame and starting at a certain level of just working with the heritage, and then if things work out, then maybe we can expand that. Right. But there's definitely a need. At some point, we definitely need to have that discussion. But I'm definitely enjoyed the presentation you gave, and thank you so much for being here. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. It would be appropriate if you're willing to, if you're ready to negotiate, to talk about engaging this firm, and then having me come back with meeting with them and putting together a contract, if that's something, or if you're not ready, we can come back at another time. You can think about it, but I think based on your timeline and what you want right now, I think personally, I think it's a great opportunity for this. The mayor always talks about this open canvas and this jewel that we have here. Having that perspective and continuing on that thought of having people, when they know they come into McLendon-Chisholm, because they've seen what we've designed and what we're thinking about. And as Mayor Pro Tem says, as they potentially go through our commercial sector or other places, that it meets that same type of theme, that same type of feeling of being in our great city. I also want to thank Burdett principals for being here. They came from your old stomping grounds, the Houston area, and we appreciate their travels and coming here and giving this presentation tonight. But if you'd like to make a motion, if you're ready, that'd be great. If not, that's okay too.
I'll make a motion to that.
Okay, I've got a motion. About a second.
I second it.
All right, it's open for discussion. Is everybody good with giving Conrad permission to open negotiations with him? This is the start of what is known as the Heritage Center, the setting around our acreage that we have here around City Hall. So if there's no discussion, all in favor? Aye.
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 Those, okay. Show that unanimous. There's a book being put together for you with all the information in there, so it is not completed yet. There's a lot of information still to be put in there, but for you, for the other 3 council members, actually 4 council members, those are being put together. They're just not complete yet. There's quite a bit of information put in there. Within the next week, I'm hoping, week and a half. There's a lot of information to put in those. But we will update you right now on where we're at in the process. Adrian?
So far on September 29th.
Yeah, turn your mic on, please.
Okay, as of September 29th, it's a Friday, our water attorney, Emily Rogers, filed with the Public Utility Commission, the 13.255 application, and we're just waiting now at this point.
That's where we're at, guys. It's the next step in the process. We're in the waiting game, waiting on Public Utility Commission to either say yes, no, or
Well, no, it's get on.
whatever the next piece in that process is. Any questions, Dan? No. Okay. Jennifer?
I have a question. How does the denial letter from North Texas that we received on September 15th affect that?
That denial letter was based on certain pieces. We have followed everything. Yeah, I'm sorry, I realized that. That denial letter, there were conditions in there of things that we did not have at the time, okay? But we have been advised by them to file formally like we have.
Hold on, back up for a second.
Okay.
So in July, Conrad and I went to North Texas Municipal Water District, and one of the things that the discussion was is like, what are the items that we need, or application, or any information that we need to be prepared for to request to become a direct customer with North Texas Municipal Water District. They first said you have to write a letter, and the other thing was that they had to send us an email that included attachments of all the requirements that they're expecting for a direct customer. And so we sent the letter on August 8th. Now you're probably wondering, like, wait a minute, so why didn't we fall in? Well, we didn't. We had an issue with the maps. On the maps, Chisholm Crossing Phase 2, 3, and 4 were not included in the maps. And so our water attorney advised that we needed to make sure to get High Point SUD's, I don't want to say permission, but basically they're not going to object to adding that to the maps for the amendment. And so we had to have a meeting, and then we had a special meeting with High Point SUD. It was on their agenda. We talked about the right-of-way ordinance, and also while there we requested for a letter with a letterhead, so that will be included in this application process. And so we got that, and then we had the updated maps, which doesn't exactly take a day to do this, apparently. Anywho, so Ms. Rogers ended up filing all of this information. It just so happened that they did send it on September 15th, but if you can notice, on the August 8th letter, one of the first things it says specifically is that we have to go and file with the Public Utility Commission. That's what the first thing. And then after we get all that information, we have to work with them, with their engineering executive team and all that, to get all the other stuff taken care of. But once the city does receive authority from the Public Utility Commission, then to provide within your city limits or extraterritorial jurisdiction, the North Texas Municipal Water District stands ready to assist the city with any future agreements being subject to North Texas Municipal Water District Board of Directors approval. There is a process to this. When you are working with the executive team, they are not the board, okay? That is the administrative team, and then there's a kind of like a water committee that reviews and verifies the information that's submitted from these letters, or any information that's submitted. And then once all of the documentation that's submitted, all that, and we're ready, it's kind of like creating an actual contract with North Texas Municipal Water District, and then we will be before the actual board, and that's whenever they approve, and they will be able to provide a approval letter from the actual executive at that point. That will be a direct customer.
Anything else you want to know? Okay. Brian, do you have anything? Okay. That's all we have on the updates right now. Like I said, the binders are being put together. So we'll move on to 7.4. I asked to have this put on there. That's my response to an announcement by RCH Water concerning the city and the city council. I'm just going to speak honestly with all of you, as I always do. I'm sorry. Is that better? Okay. All right. let me sit up, it'd be a little easier. I put 7-4 on here. It's an announcement, or it's my response in the announcement of RCH saying that the city and city council stopped, as it was termed, a hostile takeover of RCH. That announcement is full of inaccuracies. Okay? Have Mr. Naylor and I met, Mr. Naylor being the president of RCH? Yes, we have. Have we talked about things and give and take? Yes, we have. Was there anything in writing? Absolutely not. Was there an agreement? Absolutely not. There was a discussion. Okay? And if my council thinks that I would have made a decision like that without bringing it back to them, that they were happy with it and that they needed to bless it first, then we have a severe breakdown within city government, because that kind of a decision would not be one I could make on my own without negotiating and discussing with my city council. So that is why that agenda item is on here, is because that statement was full of inaccuracies. That's all I have to say on that matter. All right, we're going to move on to updates, discussion, and direction to staff. And it's just like that. Any updates on anything that we've all been working on? Discussions on anything we've been working on, and any direction to staff? Mr. Tucker? Ms. Jennifer?
I thought I'd hit the button.
I forgot this time. Okay, what you got?
It saddens me to hear that you refused to acknowledge that what you agreed to that night or that afternoon in the meeting with RCH Board President David Naylor, a meeting that Conrad was also present. I have in my possession emails showing the meeting that was being set up, and also emails from Mr. Naylor recapping the meeting with a detailed list of what had been agreed upon. An email neither one of you responded to. If someone sends me an email with false information, I'm pretty prone to reply to that email pretty quick with questions. I'm also curious at the advice of our city manager that these emails were sent to your Gmail account, but that's the least of my concerns tonight. Copies of these emails, I have copies for the council, and a copy has been provided to the city secretary for the record. I'm also in possession of a recording of that meeting, in which I'm ready to play if I need to. A portion of that tonight. A transcript is also being provided in the packet. When I first heard the recording, I was very proud of you. I was proud that you were finally standing up and doing the right thing for the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm that are served by RCH. That feeling was unfortunately short-lived when you started vehemently denying what you were about to know is true. And I'm willing to play a piece of that to where you did agree to that.
Well, Ms. Hoffman, before you do, you might want to make sure before you do anything like that, you've had a conversation with the city attorney, okay? Because both Mr. Hildebrandt and I were both in that meeting, and there was nothing put in writing. And why it went to my Gmail account, you'll have to ask Mr. Naylor, because he has my city account.
Oh, that's on the recording as well, that Conrad told him to, so you could avoid open record request.
I don't remember any of that part of the conversation.
I can play that too if you need me to.
Mr. Holler? Absolutely, because I have no knowledge of any recordings.
I would like
my
to
mic
hear,
is my Your microphone's not on.
I would like to hear the recording personally.
I'm sure you would, Mr. McNeal. And at this point, I think we need to have an executive session before we do this.
All right.
There is a piece on the executive session.
It's not.
All right, the time is now 7:34 p.m. Authorized under section 551.071A of the Texas Government Code. This meeting may be converted into closed executive session in order to seek confidential legal advice from the city attorney on any agenda item, which would happen to be the one that we are in, which I believe is
7.4.
8:17, we're back from executive session. No action taken on that discussion. I don't have any direction or updates or discussion for staff. You do under your individual one. So hold on before you get to yours. Dan, do you have anything? Okay. Jennifer?
I'm good.
Okay.
Conrad, Councilmember Councilmember McLendon wants to make sure to have he wants to canvass the members for Veterans Day event ideas for November 11, 2023 at City Hall. He doesn't have a time determined, but please send out the email to the rest of the council to ask for event ideas for November 11, 2023, Veterans Day. The rest of my report is last week, Mayor Short, Councilmember McLendon, City Administrator Conrad Hildebrand, Attorney Michael Halla, and I put in our hours at the annual Texas Municipal League TML 111th Annual Conference in Dallas. We attended sessions for small city talks, economic development, and volunteer recruitment for city events, boards, and commissions. Our personal favorite, Water and Sewer Business 101, a guide to balancing the interests of your business and customers. So I want to give a shout out for our administrator and our attorney, and of course Mayor Short for contributing to the session. That was really good. And lastly, at that event, the City of McLendon-Chisholm's TML resolution relating to local water supply corporations providing adequate delivery of water and or meet the infrastructure requirements to keep up with water demand passed with 2 friendly amendments. And the committees will be appointed in 2024. And the TML board will finalize that in 2025-2026 legislation program. And if it all goes well, we will head to Austin in the 2025 legislative session. And then I'm still working on the policies that I mentioned at the last meeting regarding to present to the City Council for consideration regarding kind of like a committee that's regarding public input regarding utilities, and the website Q&A related to the community input, such as for the building moratorium, how the process goes with building permits and pool permits. So, and that's all I have.
All right. She made me think of one thing. I don't know if anybody has noticed. Is it over by the fire station, the tree? Okay. There's a tree hidden over by the fire station that's fixing to get planted over here that was donated by the Lovels, right? Yes. So we have a very beautiful tree that was donated that's going to get, I don't want to use the word buried, but it's going to get planted over here. That's going to be very nice. I don't remember. Floyd's been involved in it, so I don't have an answer. What kind of tree? Yeah. Some kind of an oak tree. So, yeah. Guys, I don't have anything. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I was gonna wait until tomorrow and send it to my very, very close friends that I'm in Bible study with. But I'll say a little something here with y'all first. Okay? And it's not an easy thing. First off, some of us have had some pretty heated discussions, and I'm one that I believe in honor and integrity. And when I make a mistake, I take ownership of it. And what you didn't hear in executive session, and I'll spill the beans on one little piece, is I feel that I've failed my counselor. And I told him that. Okay? I've been lacking on responding to some things in the last month. That's because health-wise, I got a lot on my mind. I don't ask for pity. I don't ask to be baby, because that will make me crater more than anything. But a month ago, I was told I have chronic congestive heart failure. I've always been larger than life. I've always been the one that could protect everybody else. And to be told that by my doctor, who I admire a lot, that my heart's failing, I struggle with it. I've already had to do a couple of tests, and next week I have to do a couple more in that fear of the unknown. I'm a strong Marine, but I'd be lying to you if I tell you I wasn't scared shitless, because I am. But I still have to make stupid jokes and do stupid things to keep from letting it tear me apart. So if I look a little red-eyed or I look a little distant, it's because I got a lot of stuff on my mind. But I love this community. I love my council. And I'm going to do my job the best I can until my time's up. So if I look like I don't care sometimes, it's not that. I'm dealing with a lot too. And I know some of you out there, and I know some of the things you've gone through, I think you could understand that. I apologize if I made any of you feel like I've let you down as your mayor. That was not my intent. And with that, I think we've concluded everything for tonight. It's 8:23, meeting adjourned.